So if you guys could let me know who's on, that way I know who I'm talking to, would be much appreciated. Good morning, everybody. If you're Italian, buongiorno. Um, I hope everybody's having a great morning. I have a lot to say this morning. So if you've been here a while or you haven't, welcome or welcome back. And if you've been following me a while, the content has been generally all about relationships, all about marriage. And it's not that I'm not still going to be talking about that stuff. I am. But the Lord has brought me into so much growth of what He wants me to teach you guys to be able to have freedom in your life. And how that's going to evolve is by doing certain things in our life to get there. And what happens is we naturally need to always have some type of control over how we try to get results in our life. And what you're going to start to see is that control, obviously comes from the ego. A lot more does too. But when you're trying to control how things should go, it never works. So, what we're going to be doing is we want our lives to end up in the best case that they possibly can be in. Like, in other words, I want everybody's life to thrive. I want everybody's life to become the best that it possibly can be while we're here on earth, to enjoy the days that we have to the best of our abilities, versus have to suffer to get there. So we're going to suffer, obviously. We know that the Bible talks about this, but there's ways to be able, as Paul says, to be content in all things, which requires certain evolution to get there. So even when you're going through rough times in your marriage and stuff like that, it or relationships or family dynamics or jobs or finances, whatever you're going through, there's things that if you would do internally in yourself that would get you to that point, to be able to be in that position to where you enjoy things so much more. So, with all that being said, today what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about a particular topic that a client, they're also a friend, has reached out to me to discuss. So, this is more or less a topic where they want some understanding on how to handle, I guess you could say, a one-sided dynamic. Okay, now a lot of you guys that are married or in relationships or you're dealing with family members are dealing with people that want everything more or less to go their way. They don't really consider you. And what that is really called is a one-sided dynamic. Like things have to go their way or no way. There's not really much compromise. Their perception is completely opposite. Then sometimes you'll try to over explain or verbalize to them how you feel. It's dismissed. And a lot of you guys don't know that personality types, to be able to know what you're working with, is so crucial. Because, if I'm talking to somebody, I know within generally very quickly what I'm working with. Hi, Donald. Good morning, hon. So I know what I'm working with generally very quickly. And with all that being said, I'm able to kind of discern how to talk to them based off of obviously the schooling and stuff I've done. So it's not me just knowing. I had to take school to study all these things. But I'm able to kind of know how to navigate talking to these individuals based off their personality type. So when you're dealing with somebody who doesn't want to compromise, who wants things to only go their way, and it's a one-sided dynamic, you have to, I mean, I'm just being honest, you have to set boundaries. A lot of people are afraid of boundaries, or they don't even know properly how to set a boundary. So boundaries is not something where people automatically think they're supposed to get radical, reactive, and act in a way that's dysregulating your own nervous system. Let's just be honest. So if you want to be magnetic to people and actually get them to change, the way that you represent yourself is very crucial. God has shown me this. We always want to be in a calm state. Okay. This requires a lot of inner work. And people will ask me all the time, like, how do you talk so calm? You talk so slow. You talk so sure of yourself. Well, I have been working on myself for 7 years. Okay. My coach and I have done so much work. So, like, again, a lot of you, if you would just get like somebody to work with exclusively, that could help speed this process along. So when you're talking to a spouse, especially, and you're trying to set a boundary, that's going to be extremely difficult for a lot of you, because a lot of you are in this situation in a broken marriage or a broken relationship, or you're standing for a kingdom spouse and the relationship isn't necessarily going the way you want it to go in the first place. So setting a boundary is, I hate to say this, like super scary for a lot of you guys, because you are afraid of how that person's going to respond. You're afraid of what they're going to do. Your core wound is being triggered with abandonment. So naturally, the nervous system is in survival mode and it's going to try to do everything it can to be safe, to keep you safe. So, how you would set a boundary in a healthy way, remember, how we react and our energy is very important, because it's going to either raise somebody's walls and it's going to make them react, or it's going to disarm the individual to be non-reactive, to be able to get through. Sometimes you won't get through, even if you do it that way. So, and that is where you have to give it over to God and be able to be in silence and be in separation with the person, to let them think in the space and absence from your presence what they're willing to do and how important you are in their life and the impact you have in their life if they want to change. Now, it doesn't mean they're all wrong. See, sometimes we have to look at ourselves too. A lot of you guys want to avoid looking at yourself. I was one of these people. We have to stop avoiding looking at our own behavior too. So sometimes when somebody's triggering us, well, I should say a lot of the time, when we're being triggered, what is being triggered in us? So if somebody isn't texting you back, let's just say that, your core wound is being triggered of abandonment, and your core wound is being triggered with rejection. Why is that? What are you not giving yourself that you're triggered by that? Just a suggestion. Because then what happens is when you're filling your own cup up and you're giving that to yourself, what ends up happening is the energy you're giving off to that person makes you magnetic and more attractive. So then they want to talk to you. Your life doesn't revolve around that person. So a lot of you guys could re-attract people in your life just by tweaking a few things. But it takes a lot of discipline, inner work, self-control. Now let's get into how would we set a boundary with somebody when they keep talking about a certain topic that maybe makes us uncomfortable. Well, first off, you have to identify, why is this topic making me uncomfortable? That's very important. You got to figure that out. Why is it making me uncomfortable? Why does it bother you? Because sometimes maybe it's you. Why does it bother you? Is it something that you know maybe deep down inside is true, but you don't want to talk about it because it bothers you? It's one of those things. Sometimes sometimes just by providing some validity to whatever somebody's saying can just like change the topic right away. Again, there's so much to know with all this. Then if it's one of those things to where maybe it doesn't make you uncomfortable anymore, you know that it maybe is true, whatever the case is, you faced your shadows and did all that work, then at that point, you could say something along the lines of, I understand, I hear you, but I would like to maybe move forward in our relationship and not talk about A, B, and C because I'm looking to start fresh. So, in other words, what did I do? I provided validity, reassurance, you might as well say, set a boundary, and had direct communication. Just saying, doing a step-by-step method like this is very helpful. When somebody keeps maybe repeatedly doing things to break our boundaries, remember, boundaries aren't getting huffy and puffy and reactive. It doesn't work. It's speaking truth, okay, calmly, providing validity, setting a boundary, which is more or less like holding them accountable, not using phrases like you do this or you always do this or I don't like it. I hate when you blah, blah, blah. No, that's not how you communicate. You're going to get somebody to then raise their defenses. See, a lot of you guys aren't even communicating properly and wonder why there's no change in your dynamic. So, like, that is nagging. That's not expressing. The next video I want to get into is expressing versus nagging. So if this video was helpful, let me know. I love you guys all so much. If you would like to work with me, get in touch with me through email, redeemingthebroken@gmail.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. By the way, we have Facebook groups, Redeeming the Broken and Dead Marriages Redeemed. Come on over to both. We would love to have you. And yeah. Anyways, guys, any topics you'd like to hear about, put them in the comments, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.